Chemistry SK015, Chapter 1, Matter, Subtopic 1.3, Stoichiometry. Learning outcome. At the end of this lesson, students should be able to define a limiting reactance and percentage yield. There are two types of reactants, limiting reactants and excess reactants. Analogy, types of reactants, situation, motorcycle factory. To produce one motorcycle, the factory requires one body of motorcycle and two tires. Ratio 1:2. Now, there is a situation when the factory has two bodies of motorcycle and 5 tires. How many motorcycles will be produced? Remember, the ratio is 1:2. The first body is connected to 2 tires to produce the first motorcycle, and then the second body is connected to 2 tires to produce the second motorcycle. Overall, there are 2 motorcycles are produced. As we can see here, there is 1 tire remains after the production. Thus, the tire represents excess reactants. Meanwhile, there is no more body of motorcycle. Thus, body of motorcycle represents limiting reactant. A limiting reactance is the reactant that is completely consumed in a reaction and limits the amounts of products formed. As for example, in this chemical reaction, the reactants are 5 carbon atoms and 10 oxygen molecules. As we can see here, the amounts of product carbon dioxide molecules is dependent on the number of carbon atoms. Thus, the carbon atoms represent limiting reactants. An excess reactance is the reactance that is not completely consumed in a reaction and remains at the end of the reaction. As for example, after this chemical reaction is finished, there are some leftover of oxygen molecules. Thus, oxygen molecules represent excess reactants. Percentage yield. Analogy of percentage yield. From previous example, we understand that 2 bodies of motorcycle require only 4 tires to produce 2 motorcycles. Thus, the amounts of 2 motorcycles produced represents theoretical product. Now, what will happen if one of the body of motorcycle is broken? The answer is only one motorcycle will be produced, and this motorcycle represents actual yield. Thus, the percentage yield is only 50%, not 100%. The percentage yield is the ratio of the actual yield to the theoretical yield multiplied by 100. Theoretical yield refers to the amounts of product that would result if all the limiting reactants completely react. As for example, in this chemical reaction, we are given 2 mole of fluorine and 3 mole of hydrogen. 2 mole of fluorine totally react with 2 mole of hydrogen to produce 4 mole of hydrogen fluoride. These amounts represent theoretical yield. Reminder, theoretical yield of product is calculated from equation. Actual yield refers to the amounts of product actually obtained from a reaction or experimental result. As for example, in this chemical reaction, 2 mole of fluorine react with 2 mole of hydrogen to produce 4 mole of hydrogen fluoride. This is the theoretical yield. However, if this reaction produces only 3.5 mole, this amount refers to the actual yield. Reminder, actual value is not equal to the theory. Side reactions must be considered. The formula of percentage yield is actual yield over theoretical yield multiply 100. The percentage yield can be calculated in unit of mole or unit of gram. That's all. Thank you.